Okay, today on the show, we have Lexi Belland from Lepic Kroeger Realtor from the Belland team in Williamsburg, Iowa. At age 27, Lexi's success is no accident. This business has run in her family for generations and comes very naturally to her. Fresh out of college, she dove in headfirst. After 6 years in the business, her and her team reached almost 20 million in production in 2019, actually 19.8 million. She is extremely passionate and committed to educating, mentoring, and supporting her clients. She truly has a passion for what she does and is just getting started. And I should share her production goal for 2020, which is 30 million. And she's already done like 8 million year to date, which is insane. Please visit thebellandteam.com. That's BELLAND team. And welcome to the show, Lexi.
Hey, thanks for having me. That was quite the introduction. And one thing I do want to say is if you're a new listener and you're an agent, this is a super resourceful outlet. When my sister and I, or my mom and I, when we're on our way to a listing appointment, we have this blasting in our car. Gives you motivation, gives you ideas you can hear from other realtors. So if you're not subscribing, we highly recommend it.
Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And this is a real honor for us because I'm here in Chicago and it's so nice to hear that people from all over are benefiting and also willing to spend time with us. I know how busy you and your team are. So I know this is something you probably don't have time to do, but are finding time to do it. So thank you on behalf of the listeners. So Lexi, I know this real estate is not new to your family, although you are relatively new to the business. I mean, not much anymore, but 6 years in. But tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Yes. So my mom's been in real estate almost 25 years. So she was a huge influence for me. That was one of the main reasons or how I got started and interested in it. But also my dad is a builder. So, I've had homes in my background, careers with homes forever. So I always kind of knew, most realtors, this is their second or third career. This is all I know. I started in 2014 at Lepic Kroeger Realtors, and this is the only company I've ever worked for. So this is all I have really known. So I wanted to get started in real estate right at 18, right when I graduated high school. That was my plan. So I sat my mom and dad down like, hey, this is what I want to do. And I got shot down really quickly because they were like, hey, no, you need to go to college. Like, that's not really an option. So I went to college at Iowa State University.
Sure.
And I really wanted to get done quickly so I could get going. That was my passion. Because I did follow my mom for like a few years in high school and stuff, taking her pictures, inputting listings, that type of thing. So I graduated early. I graduated in 3 years. And so during my last year, I got my real estate license during my undergrad because I literally wanted to graduate and the very next day start selling. So I graduated on a Friday and I had my license by Monday. So it was like perfect timing. I was really excited to get started. And it's kind of funny because my senior year of high school, I won a scholarship through the Iowa City Area Association of Realtors. And so you have to go and give a little speech thanking the association for the award. So, I'm in a room full of realtors, saying, hey, thanks for this scholarship. They want to know what your plans are. So I said, I'm going to go to Iowa State University and I am going to come back and sell real estate. And, it was kind of a quiet room right after that. And I don't know if they didn't believe me, or they're like, great, more competition. But 3 short years later, I literally was basically competing with everyone in that room that day. So it's kind of, unique how I got started because it's not like how most do. So.
Well, it seems like you knew exactly what you wanted at a very early age. I mean, when I was 18, I went to college and I didn't even know my senior year of college. I was like, oh, I'm graduating. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing or what I
most
want
are
to
like
do.
that.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about the geographic area that you represent, because you are not in a major metropolitan area.
Yes. So we're in like a rural area. Our population's 3,200 people. So very small town probably compared to you, but it feels plenty large for me. And we have like Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, like they're surrounding, like Iowa City's only 20 minutes away. So it's a hop and a skip. But there's something about small towns, and I don't know if you have been in small towns, but
Sure.
I take pride in living in a small town because, you know, you learn a lot about yourself. Like it just, there's more one-on-one. Even though I know majority of the people in our community, I'm still meeting new people every single day, and I'm working with brand new clients that are new to town. And when you're passionate about the community you live in, it's easy to sell Williamsburg. We have so many large town amenities that other surrounding communities don't of this size. We have a great school district. So it's not hard for me to sell Williamsburg. And I've gotten quite a bit of my clients that, you know, if you compare it to, you know, Johnson County, you're getting a lot more house for a lot less money, and you're getting more one-on-one in school districts. You're paying less property taxes. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but because I'm passionate about Williamsburg and real estate, I feel like I can really draw people to this area. So that has helped grow the business.
Even if you were working in Chicago, and we're one of the largest markets, I think we're the second largest real estate market in the country, or third largest maybe.
Yeah.
Your production would still be in the very top 1% here in Chicago. So I think that is so fascinating because, again, I live in a big city, and I often think about brokers who live in more rural areas, and I think, wow, that must be so much more difficult simply because of the population numbers, and you are proof positive that you can have this huge expansive career at a very young age by being extremely passionate. And the fact that you, I mean, I grew up in a moderately sized city. It was about 100,000 people, but I went to school. So I have you beat, because I went to school in a very rural area up to 8th grade. That was a town of 800. So I can appreciate the small towns, and that was in central Illinois. And so that's kind of my upbringing as well. And I'm always amazed at, in Peoria, where I went, one of the top agents there is, I think he was with Keller Williams, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But he does almost 200 sales a year, and his average price point is like $160,000. And like, he just crushes it on volume. And that's, and then, you come to Chicago and somebody might do a $3 million sale, which of course is rare, but it happens. And so, you can have success in any size environment. And I love the fact that how passionate you are about your area, because I think you have to be, and you have to really love it and be so excited to support people buying and selling in that area.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, like, a lot of agents in the surrounding communities, like, that are larger, obviously you can sell sometimes 15 houses and reach a pretty good, like, we have to close over 100 properties to get to that,
Right.
So we have a lot more transactions going on, which is more clients, more juggling of those, like that
Sure.
type of thing. So it's something that, like, I think bigger areas maybe take for granted a little bit. Like,
Sure.
We're doing 100+ transactions.
It's insane.
And so it's in my year to date, so in 2020, my cheapest house I've sold this year is going to be $29,000, and my most expensive this year has been $570,000. So
wow, it's a huge
it's
range.
a wide range of clients and inventory. So,
and I mean, you're doing a closing every 3 days. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, it seems like more than that, but
wow. I mean, amazing. And I do want to talk about this a lot, because you, as a younger person in the business, although I don't even like saying that, because you're one of the most successful people in certainly, I'm sure in your market, you guys have to be one of the top teams, if not the top team. And I want to talk about, at 21, when you started, what were some of your approaches? Because we have a lot of listeners who are new to the business, or maybe who are younger, who are struggling, trying to figure out, even in a city as big as Chicago, how do I make this happen? And we have millions of people, right? And you guys don't have millions of people, but you were still able to carve out this amazing niche for yourself. Can you talk a little bit about, like, what did you do so day one you got your license, how did you start to build the business?
Yeah. So this is kind of funny, but the first thing I did was I bought a pair of fake glasses. I don't need prescription or anything, but it was like, okay, I feel like I look older and I don't wear them anymore, but
Oh, that's
I
funny.
got I got a pair of glasses because it made me look a little bit older. But that is a challenge as a young entrepreneur that, you know, people, they want to see experience, and everyone started from scratch somewhere. So um my situation's a little bit different in the sense of I had my mom to lean on.
Sure.
I really had her expertise. She guided me throughout the entire thing. But, even though she had her sphere of influence, I knew that I needed to build my own as well, that I couldn't just follow along with her and, maintain. I wanted to grow my business and our business, and I wanted to make a name for myself. And so my biggest thing was, and I understand when you first get started, you're not going to have a bunch of marketing dollars to throw around, but I did market myself everywhere that I possibly could. So like my face was on everything, billboard, car, in high school gyms, every social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, like everywhere that you can. And some of those things are free. So it's like, figure out what your best, return on the investment is. So it was just figuring that out. And I think this is really hard for new agents, but to promote yourself. So to your friends, to your friends' friends, to your family, to your coworkers, to your old coworker, like
Yeah.
anyone that that you can reach out to. And this is also kind of silly, but right when you get started, you're not familiar with the assessor website and all that. I mean, I remember my first week, I was like waking up at 6 a.m. and I would grab the phone book and and I would go through every name, get their address, get their phone number, enter them in my database. I now have a database of 2,000 plus people, and I'm sending mailings to them. Like it didn't just happen. Like I also have to be a hustler. Like, and if you want to be successful in this business, you have to hustle and you have to be available. So our slogan is any house, anywhere, anytime. So we pretty much say that we're available 24/7. So because I'm promoting that, I want that to be true. So I tell them, give me 2 or 3 times that work best for you and I will make it work. And so last night, working till 10 o'clock, the night before, 9:30, I'm out doing offers back and forth, doing showings. Like this is the prime time. And even in the winter, like setting myself up for success, I have to be a go-getter. And I think the community and my clients have realized like I'm going to give it 100% every single day. We all have our good days and our bad days, but that's the nice thing about working on a team is I have my weaknesses, I have my strengths. My sister has her strength. What we're good at is what we're doing, and what we're specializing. So with a team, I have 2 other people to bounce ideas off of, and they're telling me what I need to work on. We have weekly team meetings where we're saying, okay, we could do this better. And, who are we missing? What are we missing? What could we, how can we establish ourselves even more? So getting started is always going to be tough. And when you're young, like looking back, I'm like, oh, that was such a bad idea that I would have started at 18. Like my parents were spot on with that, saying no. And so it was really good to, just kind of market myself. That's the best advice I can give to somebody new is if you can get on a team, get on a team. Like you are going to learn so much from that. And like, I can't believe the amount I have learned in 6 short years. And, I credit that to my mom for sure, because, she was working more hours than she was because she had to train me. I'm going to every
Sure.
open house. But again, it just doesn't happen overnight. So putting that time and effort in, I mean, if you're going to be a hustler, you're going to have success.
Well, you just said so much in about the last 10 minutes. It's a lot to unpack. And I sort of want to just I want to go back to just a couple of things because it was
Yeah.
really very impressive. You said a lot. Number one, you talked about farming. You're like, and farming as a prospecting tool, meaning you were reaching out to people you didn't know, people in the phone book who you just went, and sent them items of value. And you also talked about, making sure the people you do know, your sphere of influence, is recruiting for you too, or a better way to say it is advocating for you, right? So Brian Buffini talks a lot about this in the Brian Buffini stuff, is he goes, your contact list is not your client list, although that's nice if it happens, but those are your
Yeah.
advocates. Those are the people that want you to succeed. So make sure they know to tell everybody they know about who you are and what you do. And sounds like you were doing pretty much everything. You're also advertising, right? You were putting your face on billboards and benchbacks and high school gyms, and probably you were probably just really, not just your face was enmeshed in the community, but I imagine you were very present in the community. I suspect you're out and about and easily seen and found.
Yes. And like joining, local organizations,
Yeah.
volunteering, we're in Big Brother, Big Sister.
Yeah.
There's so many ways that you can get involved, joining clubs, local clubs, joining your chamber. Like there's so many opportunities. It's all on how bad you want it. You can't make somebody show up. And even though this is not an 8 to 5 job, I'm here. My sister would disagree. I'm here every day around 8:30. And then I pick up my kids right before 5. And then my husband gets them. And then my husband has them, especially in the springtime. My husband has them basically like all night, And then weekends, my Sunday, I have open houses from 11 to 4,
Wow.
and I'm not saying like, I make time for my family too, but, when winter can be a little bit slower, that's when we're doing my family vacations, and, I'm spending that quality time with my family, and I want them to grow up and know that like I gave it my all, and that
Yeah.
my parents are hardworking, and like they need to see that. And that's what I saw growing up. And I feel like that instilled in me, what I wanted. And it drove me to be a better businesswoman because of that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that you're leading by example, right? And you're going to, you sort of just hope that when your kids come of age, they're like, have those same values and same work habits, because at the end of the day, and you and I both know this, it's usually not the most talented person who's the most successful. It certainly could be, but it oftentimes is just the person that works the hardest
Yeah.
and also works smart. But the idea of hard work and discipline is something that in this industry particularly is difficult for a lot of people, because there isn't really built-in accountability. And you have a lot of people we've interviewed on the show have real estate coaches for that exact reason. They're like, I need somebody to check in with me on a couple of items that I struggle with to keep me on track as well. So I love the idea that you have built this discipline into your practice. And I'm sure you probably see it mostly as discipline. I've interviewed a ton of people who, top producers who just say that's really what it is I probably just outwork. And it doesn't mean they don't have balance in their life. They have great home lives. They have great social lives in addition to having a great business life. But they're like, I treat it very seriously. It's a real thing. I show up on time. I leave, after all the work is done, and I just keep going.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it can be hard to find that balance.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is with having a team, my sister Kylie, she might take one night a week, and then I'm the next night, and then our mom's the next night. So, I mean, that's another aspect of the team where it's like everyone's giving it their best effort. And with it being family, like I don't have to question that 1 ounce. And that's the other thing that holds you accountable too, is if you're on a team, especially with family, if they're not taking like a day off, or they're going to be there every day at 8, like I want to be there. I want to show up, and I want them to know that like I'm giving it my all. And I've never had to question between either of them, like, are they giving it? So that's the nice thing about accountability with a team is, if you're on your own, like, and you don't show up for a day of work, who knows? No one even knows
Right.
about that.
Right.
Whereas like I have 2 teammates that I don't want to disappoint. And so it's like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to be present, I'm going to give my 100%, and we're going to sell some real estate.
You talked about a lot of different marketing strategies that you did when you started, and I imagine you're still doing a lot of those. What I'm really always interested in what doesn't work or what didn't work for you. So I definitely want to find out what's working today. But what did you try over the years that really wasn't successful? Only because it might help some of our listeners who might be thinking of doing something similar.
Yes. And that's kind of a tough question because sometimes you don't always know like 100%, hey, what is working, what is not.
Sure.
Like I had previous, like you do coffee mugs, like,
Sure.
and it's like, is that visible? And like, I wouldn't say that there's any like one thing that I've done that I'm like, oh, that was a total waste,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes like on Zillow, I'll buy a zip code. If like it's slower and I know that zip code, the market's booming at that time. And then I'm like, was that really worth it? Like, did I really hit that many, like for what I'm paying, is it worth the amount of work that's being put into it? Like, honestly, it's hard for me to say what exactly isn't working because I feel like a lot of my stuff, like it just kind of comes from everywhere. And that's like one of my first questions is like, where did you hear about our team? How did you find out about us? If they show up at my open house, like, did you see this online? Did you see this in the
Yeah.
newspaper? Did you drive by? Like, you need to figure out what is working. I try not to focus on like what's not working.
Right.
So I don't necessarily have an exact answer for you for that, but I don't
Well,
do
I
any
think the answer, I think you did answer it. You basically said you need to ask people when they show up, how did you find out about me? And you'll
yeah,
find out pretty quickly what's getting the best return, right? And if it's, hey, I'm the Instagram person and that's where I post everything and that's where I get a lot of hits from, then you put more energy into that. Or if it's, hey, I saw your billboard and your billboard was really great, and it could be anything. But yeah, I think you just said something really important, which I didn't want to gloss over, which is you need to ask your clients, how do they find you?
yeah,
And it's a simple question, but I bet most agents probably don't ask it. So it's a great suggestion.
yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about social media? Because I know this is a big deal for you. And I know you guys, you do all of your own social media, and you would, a lot of our listeners might think, okay, at the level of production that your team is at, maybe they outsource it. Maybe it's just easier to give it to someone else and they can get that done since you guys are so busy and you're posting 2 to 3 times a day sometimes. But you're doing it all yourself, or your team is doing it. Isn't that right?
Yes. So we do everything social media wise, advertising in-house. So it's hard sometimes when you start that to kind of like give control to someone else. Like I've been doing it for so long that like I know what I want to post about type of thing, and it'd be hard to just like outsource it. And I see so many Facebook pages and that you can just tell that someone else is doing it and they're very generic. Like I want to try to be as raw and real as I possibly can. The thing I do struggle the most with, and agents, everyone probably does a little bit, is posting just the accepted offer, the new listing. I sometimes run out of like things to post about, especially in smaller communities. There's not as many like events going on, or so I do struggle a little bit with the sense of posting accepted offer, new listing. But I will say your marketing is working when people are talking about it. So I get a lot of people coming up to me like, oh, I saw you sold that house. And like the only way they would know I sold that house,
Right.
because I haven't even put the accepted offer sign up, but I've put the post on Facebook or
Yeah.
Instagram or Twitter. So I know, we get a lot of people asking, do you do your own? And we do. And that's one thing I learned at Iowa State was marketing and how that can make or break your company. And so, and I want to be the best in our area. I want to be the best online. And so, posting those 2 or 3 times a day, I just would like to expand more than just the accepted offers and the new listings. We do like giveaways every once in a while. Well, obviously holidays, and then like local sporting events we post about. But again, like I definitely could improve in that area a little bit too.
I have a suggestion for you if you're
Yeah.
interested. I don't know that
Yes, I am.
it's a suggestion you already know, but I'll mention it anyway.
Yeah.
Reach out to local businesses and say, hey, they probably know you guys already. Hey, we'd love to, if it's a business you want to promote and that you appreciate
Yeah.
their service or product, say, we would love to promote you. Do you have a coupon that we could offer our social media followers, or a giveaway? Maybe you even spend the money yourself for that, or they'll just maybe even give it to you, but then you'll promote them. And of course it promotes you guys as well. But that may be something to consider, which I'm sure you've already thought to do.
Yes, no, that's a great idea. But yeah.
I think we're going to start a new feature on the show. You just inspired me. This is a really big deal. You just inspired me to create Help a Top 1% Producer. And I think we're going to start it with you, just because it just came to me. If anyone has ideas for Lexi and her team about what works, aside from just posting on social media about, hey, I just sold this wonderful home and those kind of things, send your ideas to us or to her, and let's get a lot of ideas. So we're gonna do a Help a Top 1% Producer, which everybody needs help, right? So that's the whole point. And what a great answer about the social media, what's working for you guys. So that actually brings us to a couple of listener questions. So
Okay.
let me see 1 second. So you talked about Zillow, and I want to just, one of our listeners happened to ask this exact question. Nicholas asks, what are your thoughts about buying internet leads?
So Zillow is really the only like online investment buying leads that we do. And it depends which month you ask me. But
Sure.
for the most part, like, we get a lot of visibility from it. It's the number one buying website, even though realtors aren't big on Zillow and, you know, they don't have the best track record for that. I still like it because it's an outlet that my buyers like to use. And if they like to use it, I need to be present on it. Even though I might not agree with, you know, people calling on properties that have sold months ago and they just haven't updated. You know, like, that's where we're going to invest our dollars, because I know that's where the buyers are coming from. You know, we see it all the time. The amount of, you know, likes and leads we get from it is outweighed, you know, like what we make from what we pay for it, you know, like it's working for us. But we get calls daily on, you know, people wanting us to pay for leads, and they have our lead ready for us right now. I don't do any of those. So, yeah, Zillow is really the only one that we've ever invested in.
And it's really sounds like more of a branding thing for you than anything, because you're right. They have, I think it's over 200 million people. It's maybe more than that. Might be like 300 million people go there a month or whatever it is. But yeah, you have to be present there, whether you're paying for it or just getting a lot of reviews there or whatever the strategy is. But to pretend that it's not important, I think is probably not a wise idea. And obviously you feel the same way.
And
so, go ahead.
To piggyback off on the reviews, that is one thing, like, because we are investing in Zillow, after every transaction we send out, please review us on Zillow. We have almost 100 reviews. And so the odds of them picking us is going to be a lot more, considering we've taken the time, we've gotten the 5 stars, we have almost 100 reviews. You know, like, if you're going to pay for it, you need to work Zillow. You know, when we get a lead, you know, when we get that lead, it is sent, you know, we contact them within the first 30 minutes of getting it. So we're not letting it sit on the email, cycle through, 3 days later respond. We're working Zillow, because that's what we're paying for. And if I'm paying for it, it has to work, or I'm not going to pay for it.
Great answer. Okay, another question. This is a woman from Delaware named Lee, who says, as a woman, how do you stay safe when meeting with clients who you've never met before? So this is a good follow-up to Zillow, because there's going to be times when you meet people as a result of Zillow or another outlet where they see you, maybe they see your billboard. And by the way, you know, that's something that also, now that I'm just thinking about it, probably comes up a lot. So how do you deal with that from a safety perspective?
So our company at Lepic Kroeger Realtors, when we get a phone number, we can send it on to our company, and they can do basically like a limited background check. So we send over the phone number, they can give us, you know, their name, their address, you know, a lot of history on what properties they've purchased, what they've sold, any felony, you know, like, it's a pretty detailed. So if I'm ever in question, I'll send it to them, and, like, say they told me their name was this, well, the phone number is linked to a different name or a different address. So, I mean, in smaller towns, you know a lot of people that you're working with, but I mean, we cover all of Eastern Iowa. It's not like we're just in Williamsburg, or we're in Eastern Iowa, we're in Cedar Rapids, we're in, you know, we kind of go all over this area, pretty big area that we're covering. So my sister or my mom, like, if we're not comfortable, then multiple of us go together on the showing, or we'll do that background check. But of course, everyone has their stories and the sticky situations you've been in, and it's been questionable, and you probably shouldn't have gone alone, but you had to. But for the most part, we do a pretty good job on, and if you're not on a team, take a guy in your office. Like,
Yeah.
Somebody is willing to go with you. You don't have to go alone. And, if you ever do, the hair stands up on the back of your neck, like, call, or like, don't go, or, like, listen to your instinct. And I feel like that will help along the way. But I really haven't had too many situations where I felt uncomfortable. So I'm pretty fortunate in that aspect.
Well, great answer, and good suggestion too. And I bet a lot of people are going, I wish my firm had like a phone number lookup background check. And so those services do exist. And,
Yeah.
if your firm doesn't offer that, I'm sure it can be done at a relatively inexpensive price. Like, look online. There are lots, and there are apps you can have on your phone for emergencies. And there's lots of ways to stay safe, but certainly something to always keep in the front of your mind. Okay, one last question from our listeners. Janae, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Janae from Idaho asks, I'm about the same age as you, also in a somewhat rural area, but my friends are still mostly renting. It's hard because I'm younger and I have a tough time finding buy or sell clients. Any advice?
So I would say, like, when I first got started, it wasn't like I had a ton, I was still like 21 years old. So
Yeah, your friends
not
weren't
like,
buying either.
yeah. So it wasn't like, hey, I could reach out to all these leads that were in the market to buy. But the nice thing is right now, she should be at the time where, like, millennials are purchasing, and that's our generation. And so more should be coming. But, I have clients of all ages. And that's the other nice thing about our team is, we all, like, Cindy works better with certain clients. Kylie works better with her age. Like, we're all we bring in different clients. We have different ages. But really, as long as you can sell yourself and your work ethic and your company and your business, you should be able to get a client at really any age. I think it's just getting out there. And you also have to remember that the way you're marketing has to be suitable to all different age levels. So the newspaper, like, that's not probably one that you think about right away because it's one of the least effective marketing strategies. But the newspaper is where 60 and over are looking. So you still have to be present there. And then for social media, the biggest buyers are the millennials and the Gen X. Like, then you need to be on social media. So just hitting and getting involved with that will help. So, we're involved in a golf course, or, being on the chamber, or being in small little groups. You'll meet people of different ages, and you'll make that connection, and they'll start to trust you and get to know you, and they want to use you with your real estate services. So I don't think you can just focus on one client group. You kind of need to hit all. And as I would say this last year, our referrals has grown incredibly because, that's my thing is, like, I want them to leave that transaction and I want them to think, like, this went so smooth. It was perfect. Like, I want to make it as smooth and perfect as it possibly can be, that they're going to tell all their friends and family about it. So we've definitely got the most referrals I've ever gotten. And they do say after like 5 years is when you should get that repeat business or the referrals. So that has definitely helped.
Yeah, amazing. God, again, so much good information in that one answer. I have really one final question for you, and I know this is a huge passion of yours. And I'm not a producing realtor myself, but we have lots of them at our own firm. We have 650. So I suspect that this is something that even our realtors are struggling with. But you have a really solid process for, which is, how do you stay in touch with your clients? You just talked about, hey, it might be 5 years before they need me again. What do you do to stay in touch along the way?
So yeah, that's very important to me, to stay in touch, because I do want them to use me again. I want to be their forever realtor, not just their one time. And I want them to tell their friends and family about me. So, if they're new to town, I'll meet them for coffee sometimes. Now, keep in mind, it just depends how busy we are at the time and when you close. But I try to like meet them for coffee. Some clients will have over for dinner at our house. Um, every Thanksgiving we deliver pies. And so we get 200 and some plus pies and we go and deliver them to their houses.
Yeah.
For Christmas, we'll do like a gingerbread house. For Halloween, we drop off pumpkins. Just and checking in on them. When they have a baby, we send them a baby book. When they have their birthday, we send them a birthday card. Like just a little bit of contact that you can make. And it's not all out of like business. I generally do want to know how they're doing right after having their first child. And it's not just for business purposes. It's also to stay connected. I want to meet them for coffee. How are they adapting to our community? Have they met people? This is ways you can get involved. If they're needing daycare, here's the daycare providers, just like little things anywhere that I can help them after the transaction, I'm going to do. And so I honestly have a lot of friends that were strangers when I met them and are now some of my best friends because I have stayed in touch with them. And I want to be involved even after the transaction too.
Yeah, and it sounds like the majority of your touches, we'll call them, are personalized and really about the individual more than real estate. Like, hey, I'm going to make sure that they get a card on their birthday and when their children are born, et cetera. And around the holidays, we're going to do a drop by and give them a little gift. And those are all, I always say it's the personal touches that win the game. Certainly you need to be competent, of course, at the job. But afterwards, you got to stay in touch. And the easiest way to stay in touch is to know as much about your client as you can so that you can then have all these data points of like, okay, I know so-and-so's birthday is coming up, so we're going to do something for that. Or, that's awesome. And I suspect that's where a lot of broker or real estate agents struggle, is just knowing what to do. And it's like, well, how much do you know about your clients? If you don't know they're having a baby, you can't celebrate that with them. And don't wait for them to tell you, because you're probably not, first of mind when it comes to a big life event, but you need to be staying in touch so that you do know about all these things. And it's obviously you guys are doing an amazing job of that. I just realized too, everyone on your team has has a first name that ends with the E sound. So I think that's kind of cool. If you guys ever want to rebrand, you could be the E team. Yeah. And let's see, let me think of, we had one other. Oh, and I wanted to know too, like, talk to us about how the business is going. How is the market going for you right now in 2020? Have things changed at all in the last 6 years? Is it easier now? Is it more challenging? As the role of the realtor changed? Has it stayed the same? What's it been like for you?
So role of the realtor has changed a little bit in the sense of, like we're doing a couple appointments where it was like before it felt like you were just going to their house, you're getting it listed, you're putting it on the very next day. Whereas now it's like 2 to 3 appointments, a buyer consultation. Like I take pride in educating my clients on this is what you can expect. First time home buyers are blind, just as I was. They don't do this every day. They don't know how the transaction works. So it is my job to sit them down and say, okay, here's what it looks like. These are the inspection costs. The offer is contingent upon these things, and just walk them through the transaction so they can kind of piece it together and learn as we go. But before, I'd meet them at the house and, the process was described later. And then on selling side, sometimes we would just take a listing the day of. Now I'm prepping them. We're walking through each room and saying, okay, remove this furniture piece. It's too bulky for the room. We need more walk space. We need natural light. We need scent. We need smell. We have one first impression. We need to wow them the second they walk in. And that goes with pictures too. So online today, everyone is looking at your house online. So we have to wow them on the internet. And they see one picture they don't like and they're not scheduling the showing. So we have to wow them. We have to let them picture what's in, not necessarily the items in the home, but picture their own things in the home. And so I feel like it's changed a little bit in that sense. The market is super good right now. We have 23 sale pendings right now.
It's incredible.
we've closed on roughly around like 3 to 4 million, and we're right around 8 million contracted to close. So it's definitely a busy market. Our team is growing. So this June, we're going to be adding another realtor to our team. So we're really excited about that. And so, you know, our hope is that we're going to be the best team. We're going to grow. Our clients are going to grow with us. We're going to be their forever realtor. And I can guarantee that our team is going to be the best. And we're going to provide that customer service that no one else, you know, with 3 or 4 agents on a team, you're getting 3 or 4 agents for the price of one. And so, you know, we're going to bring that expertise to the table, and we're going to hustle, and we're going to get your house sold, and we're going to find you that perfect house when you're going to look. So,
by the way, yes, you are. And I want to sort of piggyback on that by asking you a question, if you're willing to share. If not, I'll just answer for you. Would you be willing to tell our listeners, because you're the first team or realtor from Iowa that we've had on the show, and we have, I mean, based on our demographics, we have listeners in Iowa who are realtors. You are not the only listener. Do you mind sharing how you got booked on our show? Do you mind sharing that?
So I started listening to podcasts, got really, you know, like at the first of the year, everybody is on this kick that, you know, like I make myself a goal every year, and it's always huge. And my mom and sisters are like, that is way too much. Like, just be happy with this. And I'm like, no, we need to grow. Like, I want to get as big as we possibly can, which within reason. But, so, you know, this year I said, like, I really would like to see us hit 30 million. And if we don't hit that, that's fine. But I want to do everything in my power that I can to try and get there. So at the beginning of the year, I started listening to motivational podcasts because, you know, every day I want to wake up, you know, get that positive energy, and then it just pushes me out the door and I'm ready to sell. Right. And so, you know, I was looking up real estate podcasts and I found yours. And so the first one I listened to was Go. And
oh yeah. And she's also in a rural area in Michigan.
Yes. And hers was so good, and it was like spot on. It was everything that I was thinking about. And even though, you know, like she brought on a lot of stuff that I thought about, but like haven't really put into action. And so when, you know, then I catch myself every listing appointment I'm going to, I'm just like, well, I got 20 minutes in the car. Like, I'm not going to listen at the stereo. So I'm listening to these motivational podcasts. And when I go to the gym, I'm on your podcast because I'm getting more experience in hearing, you know, what those agents have to say. And so anyone who is listening right now, I highly recommend that you do subscribe. And when you do have that drive time, or you're at the gym, and instead of, you know, just listening to music, if you can grow your business while doing that and educating yourself, you know, we all can learn more and more every single day. And obviously that helps us all in our business. So that's kind of why I got started on it. And then once I got started, I was like, this, you know, I loved it. And so it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, we got a message from Lexi, who said, I need to be on the show. I want to be on the show. I am a perfect fit for your show. And it's funny because we get messages daily. But this one was so passionate and so sincere and impressive to us. And I wanted to sort of let the audience peek behind the curtain a bit, because that's how people get things done. They boldly take action. She goes, DJ, you have to have me on your show. I have a lot of great things to share. I like the show. I want to be on it. And we just said, fine. It was just an immediate yes. And I think that says a lot about who you are and how you build your business in general. And we're so honored to have you on the show because you're not afraid to go out and ask for what you want. And I think that's a huge thing that especially younger realtors have a hard time doing. And, you know, you came to us and said, I want to be on the show. And we said, we got to have this person on the show. She's amazing. And we didn't even know you. And so I just want to sort of credit you and honor you for having the courage. I mean, our show's not that big of a deal, but just to have that passion and the confidence to boldly take forward steps, right? And obviously that's helped you build your business. And it's the reason we're talking today. And I couldn't be more thankful for you, because not only and I don't know if this will necessarily benefit you directly to being on our show, but it benefits our listeners so directly. And so we really want to thank you. And I want to tell everyone out there who is in, could you mention the areas you do service and the major communities, because I want every one of our listeners who is a member of those communities to reach out to you if they're looking for another realtor. Could you mind sharing that with our audience?
Yeah, so we cover pretty much all of Eastern Iowa. We're on 2 multiple listing services. So we're part of the Iowa City Area Association of Realtors. We're part of the Cedar Rapids Association of Realtors. We really cover a large area: Cedar Rapids, Ely, Swisher, Iowa City, Williamsburg, of course, Marengo, all around we can cover. So we are still growing our business. So if you have real estate needs, we definitely want to assist you. And I know that we'll give it our 100% effort.
And if you are looking to hire the Belland team, one of the best ways is to go to their website, which is thebellandteam.com. We'll be putting a link to that in the notes. And do you mind sharing your email address and or phone in case any clients want to contact you directly?
Yeah, pretty simple. Our email address is just thebellandteam@gmail.com. My phone number is 319-530-1055. Feel free to check us out on Facebook, which is the Belland Team with Lepic Kroeger Realtors. And then we also have Instagram that we're very active on, which is also Belland Team. So we would love to have you follow us.
And we're going to be posting links to all of those social media outlets as well as the as the website as well. Lexi, thank you so much for being part of our show. Thank you for reaching out to us from your area. We're so grateful that you found the show and are here providing value to our listeners. And I know this will be one of our most listened to episodes. So I appreciate you. And we also want to tell everyone who's listening, if you're a realtor and you think there's other realtors that that could benefit from listening to people like Lexi, please tell a friend. All you have to do is send them to our website, keepingitrealpod.com. Please also follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/keepingitrealpod. Not only do we post links to all of our episodes, every single day we find an article online designed to help realtors grow their business. We post that. And then we also do video recordings of all of our episodes, like the one you might be watching right now. If you're not listening, you're probably watching it on our Facebook page. So we post those live in real time so you can watch a little behind the scenes and see us actually speaking in real time. Again, Lexi Belland, thank you so much, from the Belland group, from the Belland team rather, at Lepic Kroeger Realtors and in Eastern Iowa. Congratulations on all your success. It's incredible what you've done. We have 46,000 realtors in Chicago, and I don't know that anyone as young as you has had the most amount of success even among the realtors here, and there's obviously a lot more of them. So you're really crushing it. It's really an inspiration to everyone who's listening. And on behalf of the listeners, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. We're very grateful that we had the opportunity to come on and talk, and thank you.